Hello and welcome to the Movie Story Collection. In this issue, we will explain a fantasy film, Strange Talk of Longyun Town. In the early years of the Republic of China, chaos was rampant. A small Longyun town has gathered all kinds of Jianghu experts, for example, a puppet fishing for silver dollars in an oil pot, invulnerable zombies, a flower-picking thief proficient in the art of changing looks. There was a serial rape and murder in a quiet town recently. A total of 14 young girls were brutally defiled and killed. The perpetrator was Song Sanjiang. This person is extremely arrogant in committing a crime and will leave a note in advance every time he appeared and disappeared. Every time he appeared at the target's home at a fixed time, it was completely impossible to prevent. Until Song Sanjiang committed a crime a while ago, finally arrested by Lin Xing of the police force. To calm the people's anger, the director decided to behead him in the street. Before his execution, the prison guard sent him a decapitation meal, a piece of fat, a bowl of rice. Looking at the decapitated rice, Song Sanjiang had no fear at all. He wolfed down his job, left this fat meat alone. Lin Xing really doesn't understand.
我知道你不服气，但也是你的最后一顿。肉怎么不吃啊？
肉我回来再吃。
可你回不来了。
Song Sanjiang still showed a strange look, even got up and said,
可我是不会死的。
Subsequently, Song Sanjiang was escorted to the execution ground.
小兄弟，明晚见。
With the director's order, the executioner's knife rises and falls. Song Sanjiang's head fell to the ground. Sure enough, the next night, when Lin Xing patrolled the night with his brothers, something strange happened. The servants of a courtyard fled in panic. Lin Xing hurried to the scene. The girl in bed has been poisoned. The man in front of me looked very familiar. Isn't this Song Sanjiang who just beheaded? This time he didn't resist. On the contrary, he cooperated very well and was imprisoned. The whole town was shocked and terrified when it happened. Yesterday, the whole town saw Song Sanjiang beheaded. How did you magically resurrect and commit a crime again? Just when the director was asked by reporters, the former constable, Lin Xing's father, appeared. He pointed out that it was not a ghost, it's a ghost made by Jianghu warlocks. At the same time, strange things happened again. A prison guard panicked and returned. After Song Sanjiang ate a mouthful of white meat in prison, mysteriously disappeared from this cell, and left a note. Roll call. Said the next target was the daughter of the mayor of Longyun Town. The director is really flustered this time. He asked the old constable to point out the maze. But the old constable lost one leg when handling the case 20 years ago. And now he is powerless, but he showed them a way. It depends on the Jianghu people to solve the Jianghu affairs. At the bottom of Zishaman prison, there is a strange man. Now only by inviting him out of the mountain can we break this strange situation. Speaking of this prison, the prisoners in it are not ordinary prisoners, they are all serious criminals from the previous dynasty. At the bottom is the suspect of the Haishui II village massacre 20 years ago. This person knows the secret of mechanism like the back of his hand. Lin Xing explained his intention to the man. There was a red light behind him, and Lin Xing's eyebrows were red. As soon as he turned around, a zombie broke through the water and rushed to attack Lin Xing. But for his kung fu, he would have died on the spot. At this time, the female journalists who entered the prison with the prison guards were not so lucky. Zombies directly changed their targets. Seeing that the reporter is about to be strangled by zombies, Lin Xing hurriedly flew to save the man, then draw the gun and start shooting. Never thought the zombie was as rigid as iron. Bullets don't work at all. Seeing zombies jump over, Master Ji in the prison quickly asked Lin Xing to aim the muzzle at the stone wall.
开枪！可是，信我，开枪！
Sure enough, after a shot, the warlock who manipulated the zombie was hidden on the wall, and the zombie fell to the ground. The shot warlock quickly retreated with smoke bombs.
这都是怎么回事？
夜里缠了望月红犀角，刚才你们都中了暑。
Master Ji knew he was being watched by Jianghu warlocks. He resolutely promised to investigate the case. They came to the cell where they were sent to Sanjiang.
你看，这个锁头都没有动过。宋三江他是凭空消失的。
人不可能凭空消失的。
Master Ji saw at a glance that the prisoner had used the technique of shrinking bones, and then he escaped from the prison. But people don't believe that this kind of thing against science has happened, said it was all a trick played by an artist. But during the conversation, Master Ji has entered the prison.
戒还是银吗？
He came to the iron window. Something like oil was found on it. It was here that the prisoner escaped. After dinner, Master Ji took them to a shop in the street. A strange couplet was written on the door.
十卦九不准，一卦赠给江湖人。
This is the shop opened by Jianghu warlocks. As soon as they entered the door, they heard a voice in the courtyard, but there was no figure.
来人，所欲何求啊？
As soon as the people went in, I found that the speaker had his head in addition to his head, the whole body was shrink in a bottle. It is said that there is an organization that abducts and sells children in the Jianghu. In ancient times, 10 beggars and 5 abducted and sold children. If the child is not bought, most of them will be crippled by beggars and trained to beg. What's more, he was fed medicine and put into a vase as an anecdote to make money. Lin Xing's father was investigating a child trafficking case. The hamstring was cut by a sharp steel wire before it became what it is now. The man in the bottle is called Know-It-All. He was stuffed into a bottle when he was a child. Master Ji came to him just to inquire who bought Sanjing cartilage oil and he Wang Yu red rhinoceros horn here.
江湖规矩，打死我也不说。松开！
Suddenly, a rope wrapped around Master Ji's neck. Master Ji sees these two guys toasting instead of drinking, only forced to fight it. After all, Master Ji has been wandering the Jianghu for decades, and his skill is still good. Subdue him with few moves. But the know-it-all face is really thick. If you ask him for information, you dare ask for $50. Lin Xing's pockets are empty. It's just that female journalists have more money. Know-it-all, the person who bought the medicine was the White Tiger Gang, one of the 2 gangs in Longyun town. They're making an appointment with another gang of black snakes at the dock. The 3 changed their clothes and sneaked to the dock to sneak into the White Tiger Gang. The 2 gang made rules and prepared to draw lots for a fight. The so-called armed struggle is to fear that too much movement will provoke officers and soldiers. The way of struggle derived. The boys need to draw lots to decide who will play. When drawing a red label, you must come forward and fight hard. Cut off your ears and cut off your fingers. The most cruel thing is to fish for silver dollars in the oil pot. Someone from the Black Snake Society has taken the lead. Lin Xing, who was unlucky here, won the red label. Just when he was at a loss, Master Ji took over the red sign and played for him. He rolled up his sleeves. Without saying a word, he went into the oil pot and fished out silver dollars. The boss on the other side looked so hot but didn't change his face. He asserted that Master Ji was cheating. Master Ji decided not to install it. Threw out his fake arm and kicked the oil pan over with 1 foot. The hot oil splashed on the man without any reaction. Master Ji had already seen through their trick and pushed it gently with his hand.
躺着的这个不是人。
I saw Master Ji untie his clothes. It was discovered that this person was a meat puppet driven by organs in Luban's secret arts. Up to now, Lin Xing showed his identity and said that the meat puppet was related to the serial murder. The black boss quickly knelt down and begged for mercy and confessed that he rented the dummy. In order to hide people's eyes and ears, several people took the meat puppet to the residence of Know-It-All. Because the cost of making this dummy is very high, criminals will certainly come to the door and ask for it. Sure enough, at midnight, the puppet suddenly sat up. Master Ji told him not to provoke puppets, otherwise there would be danger. But at this time, Know-It-All sneezed. This will be troublesome. The puppet was quick and powerful, and threw Lin Xing out. At the critical moment, Master Ji jumped from a high place and kicked off the puppet. The puppet tore open his coat and shot countless steel needles from the precise mechanism. All of them were bounced off by Master Ji with an iron fan. It's not a way to fight like this. We must find the person who controls it, then let Lin Xing hold the puppet. He flew into the house and came to the street. Then I found out that it was the watchman who controlled the puppet. Naturally, he was not the opponent of Master Ji and was soon seriously injured. Master Ji forced him to confess the truth. Unexpectedly, he said a strange word.
三爷已得手，你们没机会了。
Then he took out a black ball. The smoke dispersed and the watchman disappeared into a pool of thick blood. Master Ji then reacted. They were afraid they were caught in the plan of luring the tiger away from the mountain. Hurried to the mayor's house. Sure enough, there was a fake horse hidden in the stable of the mayor's house. The person inside is Song Sanjiang, a flower-picking thief. He got out of the horse, knocked down the guard and came to the mayor's daughter's room. At this time, Master Ji and Lin Xing also arrived immediately. Song Sanjiang crept to the bedside.
时间怕是来不及了，我的小宝贝儿。
Unexpectedly, as soon as he opened the curtain, a musket aimed at him.
我是你老宝贝儿。
It turned out that Lin Xing's father thought of it when he saw the note. The mayor's daughter is a female reporter who follows them all the way. This is the 3rd time that Song Sanjiang has been caught. Just in case, Lin Xing specially prepared a glass room for him. Everyone thought that the town was peaceful this time, and the mayor could finally hold a birthday banquet as scheduled. Song Sanjiang suddenly spoke.
你真的以为你看见的我是真 真的活吗？
Then he hit the glass with his head again and again until he was killed alive. Lin Xing quickly opened the prison door and tore off the human skin mask from Song Sanjiang's face. On the other side of the town, the longevity banquet was very lively, and the danger was hidden. Lin Xing, who realized that the event was bad, hurried to the scene. The crowd at the scene fled and immediately became a pot of porridge when the crowd dispersed and a group of people in black appeared, and the leader also showed his true face. It turns out that Song Sanjiang is just a code name. All of them can be called Song Sanjiang after changing their looks, and the reason why they committed crimes one after another is to cause panic in Longyun town and finally take the opportunity to replace the mayor by the third master. The ghost took out the black bell and threw it. After the explosion, it turned into a black cloud. With a roar, the black cloud knocked down countless soldiers, and Master Ji took out the iron fan and turned it into a paper crane. A flash of lightning broke through the black cloud. When the man in black appeared again, they were greeted by a flurry of guns. At the same time, the demon dragged his big knife and rushed towards Master Ji. Master Ji turns the iron fan again to resist. After several fights, Master Ji pursued the victory, but unexpectedly, the demon easily looked like younger martial sister Master Ji in an instant. He lost his mind for a moment and was badly hurt. Lin Xing was cut in the struggle with the man in black. Then he came to help. Master Ji picked up the gun on the ground and stained the bullet head with Lin Xing's blood.
做什么？用你的童子血破他硬气功！你怎么这么迷信啊？迷信个屁！你的血有毒！
One shot, the demon fell to the ground. Lin Xing threw out a jar of liquor.
你杀了太多的人，品尝报应吧！
Lao Ji threw out the flame knife to solve it. The story comes to an end. Longyun town finally ushered in peace. Master Ji also decided to leave and embark on a new adventure.